The following program is brought to you by Verdoliak Law Group, fighting insurance companies since 1963. And by TixBlitz.com, the official ticket provider for BearsBarroom.com.
This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Trubisky's not a loser. And me coming over to Trubisky, here's what I'm going to tell the people. To say, oh, it's about time you came over, and I knew it all along. You're all morons who love Cutler. A guy that dresses up like Mike Ditka before a game, that's probably what turned to me that he understands the tradition of the Bears. If Jay Cutler would have been everything this guy is, he would have probably gone to the playoffs 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I fully expect Trubisky to keep getting better because he gives a damn. And I think that's 90% of the Bears. Don't you like when I just shut people down and I make a reasonable argument? That's what debate's all about. That's what it's all about. I hate that song. The hokey pokey sucks. Let's just go on. Put your left foot in. I don't like nobody telling me what to do when I'm dancing. You put your left foot in. I'm going. Nagy understands the division. Wants that. Trestman. Fox. They wouldn't understand Bear tradition if it hit them in the ass. So Matt Nagy has instilled that into the players, and I love it. This Trubisky kid with Nagy is the right marriage, and I'm going to give Ryan Pace and everybody from Ted Phillips on down a little pat on the back.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right, the Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman. We've got plenty to talk about today. It is Packer Week, and the Chicago Bears have a chance to clinch the NFC North against the Green Bay Packers in Soldier Field. Oh my goodness. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about Mitch Trubisky. We will get Mike's picks for the week. He needs to rebound from that 1-3 week last week. But nonetheless, he is 33-20-3 for the season, so you know he's going to rebound. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
I always do rebound, Aldo. How you doing? How's everybody in the Bear Bar Room? Make sure you're tuning in live. Call your friends. Call your neighbors. Hell, call your enemies. We'll open up dialogue. Give you good conversation. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. I mean, everybody last night, including the guys in the Sun-Times, we took the Chiefs. So we're off to another, not rip-roaring week, but a snorer. But you know what? Things will turn around. Last week, I was 4-12. After going the previous week around the same thing, 11-4-1. So, I gave it back, 1-3 in the Bear Bar Room. I'm still leading in those two categories, but there's no doubt it's been a tougher road to hoe. The championship rounds are coming up now. We have 3 weeks till the season ends, and some good football to be played. But, boy, it's been a rough road to hoe for handicappers the last couple weeks.
Yes, it has been. Do the games get harder or easier to chart and predict as the season goes on?
Well, I'm not a guy, Aldo. You know me. I don't cry when I lose because I don't lose that much. There's not a lot of crying. It's easy to say I don't cry that much because when I lose. Well, if you don't lose that much, there's not a whole lot of room to cry. I mean, how many times did the Green Bay Packers cry in the 60s? Not much. You know what I mean? Because they won. But when they did lose, Lombardi would cry all week long. So when you do lose, when I lose as a handicapper, I just try to move on. But I will tell you this, like a couple weeks ago, it might have been 1 or 2 weeks ago. I mean, handicappers that I respect, like Philly Godfather, for instance. Those guys, I worked for them for a while. Great guys, gave me a platform. And a couple weeks ago on Twitter, I saw Philly Godfather complaining about Atlanta. I go, that's not really like him because he doesn't cry because they mostly win over there. And then last night I watched this game with the Chiefs leading by 14. Now I know why he was crying about that game because I'm going to tell you right now, anybody that thinks the Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl after that performance last night, leading by 14 late, they're crazy. I don't care if they got Patrick Mahomes or not. It comes down to defense, and they got exposed.
That secondary for the Chiefs is super weak. And what a tremendous comeback, like you said, battling back from 14 points.
I'm not looking at it that way as tremendous. How's that? How about aggravating?
Well, yeah, I hear you.
If they win for 2, I give them. Look it.
That was gutsy.
Phillip Rivers, I've never been a hater. I haven't. I just didn't think, he hasn't done it yet.
Right.
Ben Roethlisberger's got 2 Super Bowls. Manning's got 2 Super Bowls. Eli Manning. I mean, these were guys that were around when he was the guy. So, that was drafted also. So, you know what? If he wins the Super Bowl, I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame anyway with the yards that he's putting up. But if he wins the Super Bowl, good for him.
Yeah. Well, the Chargers are now 11-3. They're still in contention for the AFC's top seed, but do they really need it given the way they're playing? And they go to Kansas City and win there. Very, very impressive. Keep your eyes on the what town do they play in? Los Angeles Chargers.
Los Angeles. I must have said San Diego. Everybody says San Diego. You know what? They should play in L.A., but you'd be allowed to say San Diego because that's what everybody calls them anyway. I will say this about them. They were Melvin Gordon last night. They lost Keenan Allen. The replacements came through. Phillip Rivers with the new passing rules. They're going, whoa, it's the best year of his career. Well, everybody, all these quarterbacks, even Mahomes, are having the best years of their careers or the first year of their career because of the passing rules.
Does it bother you, Mike?
Do I sound bitter to you a little bit? Do I sound a little bitter early? Huh?
No, not at all. You know what?
I'm just aggravated, just like all the other handicappers that I love and respect. Everybody has a breaking point. Last night, that was mine. Are you kidding me? We should everybody that picked the Chiefs, and everybody took a beating because, hey, there's Andy Reid again.
Yep.
Guess what? He can't make it to a certain point, apparently.
You know what?
I'm bitter.
You sound competitive, Mike. Competitive.
Oh, let me tell you, I take this personally. I was 4-12. I don't like going 4-12 because it sticks with me all week long. It's like the lost luggage. Mm-hmm. You lose your luggage on the plane, and you're in Vegas, and they lose your luggage.
Yeah.
Well, now your trip's ruined.
Yep.
My week was ruined. How's that?
But you know what?
I saw the movie Chuck with Liv Schreiber about Chuck Wepner.
Yeah.
That's what I looked like Sunday night. I looked like Chuck Wepner.
The great boxing legend, Chuck Wepner. That is not good. Not good.
Not a handsome man.
Oh, my goodness. Heidi Zimmerman says good morning. She's in the chat room. She says good morning to you, Mike, and everybody else.
I like her. Very nice.
Heidi is great. She's down in Mexico. I believe she's in Acapulco listening to us live.
Acapulco, keep your head on the swivel, or you won't have one.
Oh, my goodness.
Believe me.
I've been to Acapulco. It's beautiful there.
It's not 1960 anymore. Elvis ain't walking through a hallway with a guitar. Be careful.
I saw that you put up your favorite Elvis movies.
Yes.
So can you go over those really quickly for us? Your
Oh,
top
my
2 or
God.
3?
Quick. I'll spend all night if you'd like.
No.
I mean, because you know what? I'm trying to, even you're trying to avoid the handicapping. I mean, usually every single week, hey, check out Mike's picks. Hey, Mike was this, Mike was that. You know what you said today? Just tune in and hope everything's all right, basically. But seriously, Elvis movies, to me, he was a money-making machine that could have used better guidance.
Oh, my goodness.
Because Colonel Sanders, yeah, he managed them like Colonel Sanders. Only Colonel Sanders is a better manager of chicken than Colonel Parker was of Elvis Presley.
Really?
But they had the 50-50 split.
Mm-hmm.
The early movies of Elvis Presley, Jailhouse Rock, King Creole with Vic Morrow, Walter Matthau, Carolyn Jones, what a cast.
Mm-hmm.
Those evaporated. The one movie I liked that was silly, because you could see Shelley Fabares in a bikini, and I mean in her prime.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I went to see Girl Happy at the Uptown Theater back, I think it was 64. I took the bus by myself back when that was possible back in those days, and you're a 10, 11-year-old kid, and I sat in this great palace watching this guy, Elvis Presley, and I go, holy Christ, this guy's cool. And so, I mean, most of his movies are dated now. The documentaries are great on him, but his actual movies aren't. I wish he had been in A Star Is Born. Barbra Streisand wanted him, but she said basically, I want top billing, and Colonel Parker, which I agree with him on, said you're insane, and they walked away from the project. They couldn't work it out. But my best movies are Jailhouse Rock, Girl Happy, and King Creole.
Excellent choice.
Jesus, I sound like Joe Esposito.
Joe Esposito.
The manager. He's from Arlington Heights, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that. Look at that.
He's from the Mount Prospect, Arlington Heights area. Joe Esposito. And Joe Esposito plays the hotel clerk in Girl Happy. If you want to see a cameo.
I did not know that. I'll have to tell my brother.
Oh, absolutely. Check it out.
I'm going to tell my brother.
Look it up while I'm giving out my useless picks according to you and everybody else. After being the best astronaut, I can't climb downstairs anymore.
That's not true. Ashley in the chat room says, hello, Uncle Mikey. And
I love them all, man. I love them all.
Bill Meller says the best way to start a Friday is by listening to the Mike North Advantage. Thank you all for stopping by the chat room.
Aldo's the best. Aldo sets the show up and he gets it done.
Oh, yes, but
you know what his name is, everybody? Aldo Gandia. With an A.
Thank you for getting that right. It only took you 3 or 4 shows. Oh, no.
Hey, I'm the one that has to push your name. You're so humble. You're humble.
All right.
You know what I kept hearing? Can I just change the subject real quick before we get to other things?
Before we get to the Bears? Okay.
All I kept hearing was how humble. And listen, I have all the respect in the world for everything George Bush did.
Mm-hmm.
Senior. Okay?
HW, yes.
Yeah, from what the guy was in a raft in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. Believe me, not by choice. He was shot down. The president. What a life. These presidents just have, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Yep.
But when I hear humble, he had 3 different funerals. The thing lasted a week, right?
Yes.
He had his name on the side of a choo-choo train, okay, with plexiglass. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So all I kept hearing was the tributes are coming. If another president we know of did that, he'd be an egomaniac. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, wait a minute. This guy had like 100 fighter jets fly over his the Texas A&M Center. They had cannons going off. And I keep hearing how humble he was. That's all I'm saying. He planned his own funeral. He went out in style, baby.
He did. Indeed.
Oh, my God. I'm exhausted from the funeral. I felt like I lost my own father by the time it was over.
My stepdaughter kept coming by me and saying, this still on? How long are they going to...
I'm telling you. Oh, wait. The whole country did. Come on, enough.
Yeah, true.
My God.
All right, let's talk Chicago Bears football. What'd you think about?
I'm not bitter, though. I want you to know that.
No, I know that. I know that. What did you think about that incredible Chicago Bears win over the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday night?
I got to tell you, I love the Bears. And as you know, last week, one of my wins was the Bears. I said they were going to win straight up. I just think that this team, somebody said, Louis Riddick, from ESPN, who I like, said that the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. And maybe they are. Because this team is better than the 2006 team. I think I was talking to my buddies, group of guys I grew up with yesterday. Mm-hmm. We had a get together for Christmas, and the 2006 team's like a mirage. It happened, but we don't believe it.
Yes.
One of the worst Super Bowl teams to ever make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With Rex Grossman as the quarterback. And I said, wait. This team is capable of going to the Super Bowl because the defense is better all around. The offensive line has done a good job. Trubisky wants to win, and he's better than, regardless of how good or bad he plays, he's better than Rex Grossman. We have a solid running game. We got receivers that get the job done. And most of all, we have a coach who gets it, gets the division, gets the whole deal. And I think this is a big game for the Bears coming up. I think this is going to be the game that wakes everybody up because, for some reason, people think that Green Bay is going to be in this game, and we'll discuss this later. Mm-hmm. Because Aaron Rodgers has been okay this year. The big thing is he hasn't thrown anything but 1 interception. Big deal.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But you know what? What isn't amazing is he won't be around at the end, mm-hmm. like every year except one. So mm-hmm. They can talk about him all they want. I think the Bears are pointing to this game, man, they still don't think they're getting the respect that they're due.
Yeah. Mike, listening to some of the player interviews this week, I heard Anthony Miller, the rookie wide receiver that was chosen in the second round, was showing great potential to be an outstanding receiver this year.
Oh, yeah. Good pick.
He said this about this upcoming game. When they asked him about what his expectation was for the crowd noise, listen to this, and I believe you're going to love what he says. Listen to this.
Probably be louder. We hate the Packers. I know the fans, they hate them as well. So when we go out there, it's going to be like a playoff environment, I think. It doesn't matter what their record is. You know what I mean? I think it's just going to be a huge game.
We hate the Packers. This is a rookie with the Chicago Bears. He knows the history. He knows the tension. He knows the battle between the Packers. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, and you know what? That was missing from even the 2006 team. I think the tradition of the Bears from a lot of players, has never been fully embraced. This team gets it. I've said it all along. The thing that impresses me about Nagy, and if you would listen to the great open that was put together, we've done a couple great opens, Aldo's done with the crew, basically saying, you know what, Trustman, Wannstedt, they never even cared about the tradition of the Bears. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember Wannstedt saying division games were no bigger than any other games. He couldn't have been further from the truth. I go, how are we going to win if the man doesn't even understand that you have to control your own division? And Nagy has instilled that. And I'm impressed by these young Bear players because we hear so often about how the millennials, if you will, don't have attention spans, don't know history, think that everything started in the 90s, when cell phones came around. These Bears know about the Packers. They're tired of hearing about the Packers, and they're tired of being disrespected because I know there's a lot of people out there that still think that this Bear team's a mirage. And I'm here to tell you, folks, take it from a guy who thought they'd only win 5 games. They're not a mirage.
Awesome.
Does anything get better than that? Should we just hang up now and go out and have breakfast? Enough. My God.
No, everybody in the chat room wants more Mike.
I love the Bears again.
Yeah.
I didn't love the Bears. The Cutler years, they lost me. The Wannstedt years, they lost me. The Ditka years, they had me. And, the Nagy years. This is a guy, I said, are they nuts? Why are they getting this guy? The last time I saw him, he was in the playoffs at Kansas City, crapping the bed. I was wrong. Period. The guy's a hell of a coach, regardless of all this crap. Who are they playing? Wait a minute. We saw the schedule before the season started. And a lot of people had him losing up 10 games.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear who are they playing. Because I had them winning like 5 with the schedule. So I'm not going by that. Who are they playing? The Bears are good, period.
Yeah. And the thing about Nagy that I find endearing is that he is self-critical, and he will tell the public, I am still learning on the job. But while he's learning, he's delivering a top grade A performance as a football coach. He really is.
Well, I like the fact that he wears a visor.
Yeah, really? It's
with the bald
10
head,
degrees outside.
And it's cool. It looks good. If he was losing every game, I'd be saying get rid of it. Now it's the in thing. A visor on a 30-degree day, with the headphones and he's just. I like the guy. The guy wins. What happens is you have doubt because of the way the organization was run. But when somebody wins you over, don't be stubborn and fight it. Go with it. Like I said about Trubisky. I could have been stubborn about Trubisky because you know what? Trubisky's not there yet, folks. Just watch Mahomes and watch what. He's not there yet. He had an average game last week, but that doesn't matter. The kid is going to get better, and he wants to win, and he's going to be coached right.
Yeah, very, very true. Heidi,
NFL Network pays people millions of dollars, Aldo, for what they could have gotten for what? Just $1.5 million. Period.
That's all.
That's all.
Heidi Zimmerman says, damn, Mike, I don't like the visor. Ha, ha, ha. You know what? I still think that Bears Barroom should come up with Mike North visors because I think they're going to be hot.
Listen, I'm just glad we got a T-shirt, but the Mike North visor might be good. Somebody's got to adopt the visor as the end look. On a 20 below zero day, is he going to wear the visor? That's toughness, especially especially, he doesn't even hide. He doesn't even shave his head completely, Nick. He
true.
lets you see the stubble on the side.
Yeah, that's cool.
The potential of sidewalls are coming someday. Maybe he brings, if the Bears win enough, he brings sidewalls back.
That is awesome. All right, Danny Trevathan was asked, does he remember that Week 1 loss to the Green Bay Packers where the Bears dominated in the first half and then the defense allowed Aaron Rodgers to get back into the game and eventually pull it off? This is what Danny Trevathan, the inside linebacker for the Bears, said.
We're having fun with one another.
Oh, that would be the end of the soundbite. Let's play it from the beginning.
That's all right.
Oh, I remember like it was yesterday. It carried out our attitude throughout the season. We wanted that win so bad because we wanted to start off. Our momentum didn't work out that way, so we know that we play ball better ever since that game. We know that we got better. We know this game is going to be a game that we have to go out here and execute from start to finish, and that's what we do now. So we're right where we need to be. We're not cocky. We're just confident, and we're having fun with one another.
Veteran leadership there, Mike. Veteran leadership from Danny Trevathan.
Yeah, and in fact, it's funny. He says, we got to finish the game. That's what we do now. And another key quote that I heard from him is, it seems like it happened yesterday. So, look, Green Bay just doesn't have it this year. If they did, they'd be in a better spot. People are in denial, I'm sure, in Green Bay land. That's their whole life. If the Packers suck, they might as well just get on top of their roofs and just jump. Of course, it'd only be one. They're mostly ranch houses, but that's beside the point. It just is. I like I've said before. What did I tell everybody about Russell Wilson? What did I tell everybody?
Yeah, a trade to Green Bay. Switch quarterbacks.
I said 2 weeks ago, Aldo is my witness. He's better than Rodgers, and Green Bay fans should demand a trade of Rodgers for Russell Wilson, and I think the change would do him good. 2 weeks ago. You know what everybody's saying? Boy, this Russell Wilson. Look at Seattle out of nowhere. 5-0. It's not a mystery to me. It's not a mystery to Bears Barroom. The one thing you don't want, I don't want Russell Wilson in our division. So I hope they keep Aaron Rodgers there because he's a one-hit wonder. You know, the thing about Aaron Rodgers that is becoming apparent that he doesn't have leadership skills. Nobody, is saying, yeah, he's my quarterback or anything like that. It seems like he is at odds with so many of the ex-players. Ex-players leave Green Bay. They don't have very many nice things to say about Aaron Rodgers as a leader. That is for sure. Well, I heard Brett Favre say some nice things, but Brett Favre, hated his guts at first. That's right. That's right. So I, you know what? Then the number got retired. Brett Favre left that organization. The same people, I don't know if they're around or not, but I'll tell you this right now: Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers are each got something in common. They're each going to have one Super Bowl, which is fine. But, I mean, in this era, to call him the best quarterback when Drew Brees is around, when Big Ben is around, when Tom Brady is around, is ignorance that I can't even think of surpassing, and I'm not the brightest bulb. I mean, it's just ridiculous when I hear this nonsense about Aaron Rodgers and how much better he is than everybody else. I must have been watching something different over the past 10 years. Hey, Mike, so many of our listeners I didn't like that laugh. That was like an evil laugh. Yeah, you hear yourself? I've noticed that about my laugh lately. It's gotten evil. I froze. I just froze. So many of our listeners are in their 20s, like Heidi and Ashley, and they don't remember. They weren't around for those days with Mike Ditka. Is it time for Professor North to come out? Yes, it is. Tell them about how intense this rivalry was in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, when these players were literally committing crimes on the field. Tell our audience about those days. Well, I mean, you had the same team every year. So, if the Green Bay Packers in 1959, Lombardi comes over, takes over the team. They become better automatically. Bart Starr, who in my opinion is the greatest quarterback in Green Bay history, who has 2 Super Bowls, and played in that era, the toughest era of football ever, where the rules were, there are no rules, with Paul Hornung, Jim Taylor, who just passed away recently, the whole offensive line. I came by 1960, I was starting to collect football cards, but I had no recollection before that, and the Green Bay Packers were it. and the Bears hated their guts. And Curly Lambeau was one of the founders of the NFL, along with George Halas, and it's been a tradition that's gone on for like since 1920. So, to me, then you had Butkus and Sayers and Buffon and all those teams. We got our brains beat in by the Packers. 80s, Ditka, Forrest Gregg went at it. It's been a bitter rivalry. When Ditka and Forrest Gregg became head coaches, it reignited things. It had sort of waned a little bit, and then the Bears became all that. Then the 90s, Brett Favre, and now with Aaron Rodgers, what they've had is what we hope they have with Mitch Trubisky. We had like 24 quarterbacks in the last 30 years. They had 2 or 3. You know what I mean? So that tells you everything you need to know about how the rivalry's gone.
And
that's unbelievable. Can we adjourn? My God!
Everybody's getting a great history lesson from Mike North about this incredible rivalry.
I even like the Packer colors, but guess what?
Oh,
I like the Packer colors. Don't get me wrong. I'm a uniform guy.
Yeah.
There's uniforms I like. There's uniforms they got nice uniforms. They were so nice and so good, that team. They made me ill every time we played them back in the '60s. Believe me. And in '63, when Paul Hornung got suspended, that was our opening. He got suspended for a year along with Alex Karras for gambling. And the Bears ended up winning that year. Only because Paul Hornung, who at one point in his career was a place kicker and a running back, scored 172 points in a season. Unbelievable. So that's how much, we needed. We needed Paul Hornung to be suspended. Nobody ever talks about it, and that's why we won, I believe, in '63.
Paul Hornung was quite the ladies' man, huh? There are stories about
God.
Oh, boy.
The phone told me stories.
Really? Oh, gosh.
He's tired. His legs went out on him. I go, well, football's a tough sport. He goes, not because of football. That was Paul Hornung.
Hey, before we get to your picks, Greg Braggs, he is one of our barroom correspondents. He's always out there shooting incredible video and posting it on Bears Barroom and on his Twitter feed.
I know.
He and I went out to the game, and
I thought you guys are insane.
Oh, we had such a great time. And earlier in the year, he wrote an article, and he talked about it last night on Bears 100 Proof, where he compared this team, this Chicago Bears team, to the 2015 Chicago Cubs, where people were still not believing the Cubs and that they could get it done and so forth. And he's saying that he feels that same kind of electricity because he's an ardent Cubs fan. He goes out to the ballpark 40, 50 times a year or something like that. So he knows exactly what happened in 2015, and he's been going to Bears game. He went to camp and so forth. He says he's feeling that same kind of vibe. What do you think?
I never believed in the Cubs. I believe in the Bears. Oh, no, I'm serious because, you know what? I mean, they've gone 108 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I'm here to tell you already. In 2000, I think 2016 is here for the Bears if they want, as far as the Cubs. I don't think this is 2015. According to what I'm hearing from Glenn, and he might be right, they're not going to win it this year. They're going to win it next year, like the Cubs did, right?
Right.
In 2016. So I think they can win the conference this year. Period. And it's quite a turnaround for me because you know me. I'm hypercritical of the teams I love, and I've had a love affair for the Bears, but a love-hate. Because they've been mismanaged at times. But I'm seeing, look at Tariq Cohen. What a story that is.
Amazing.
You know?
Amazing.
So look at all these guys. What that have come out of nowhere. Akeem Hicks. New England let the guy go.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just good play, good moves. Give them credit where credit's due, so I think they can do it this year.
All right. Mike, are you ready to make some picks?
Thank God I could put last week behind me. My God, I watched In Cold Blood the other night. I didn't know which guy I was, but I wasn't liking the ending.
In Cold Blood, the famous Truman Capote movie where two killers go to a Kansas house and murder everybody in the house. Oh, what a terrible, terrible crime that was. Beautiful.
Yeah, and then Truman Capote says, "Oh, don't worry, it will be all right," to the one guy. No, it won't.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot about
that. Okay, are you ready, my friend?
Oh, I love talking movies with you. We got to do a movie show.
Hey, only I would lead with the movie In Cold Blood when it came to my picks last week.
How appropriate.
My God. Like a disaster. Hey, look, I've had two or three losing weeks, okay? But I don't like when it happens. So if we're going to get off the snide here for everybody, okay?
All right.
First of all, before I get off the snide, I'd like to tell everybody that I am 104, 94, and 10 for the year. You can see our Bear Barroom picks in dark in the Chicago Sun-Times. 0-1 with my big pick, 6-7-1. Mark Potash, 1-0, 11-3 with the top plays. But I'm ahead of him by 3 in the season's record. And last week, Mark was 2-2 to make him 31, 24-1. And I was 1-3 to make me 33, 20-3. So this guy has been hounding me relentlessly. Crazy. And you know, Sylvie had a good week last week, 8-8. Check him out in the Chicago Sun-Times. But I'm still leading in a couple big categories. It's about the competition. I just want to finish above 500 and say for our first year at Bear Barroom, we got it done. Now, Aldo's saying, okay, fine. Thank you for the 13-minute narration. Can we get to the picks?
You know what, though, Mike? Let me tell you real quick. I love this competition. I've been following it. It's on page 45 of the Chicago Sun-Times on your paper copy or your e-digital copy, and I'm following this thing like a horse race between you and Mark Potash. Every week, that's the first thing I turn to in the paper. I want to see how you're doing. I'm wishing you good luck.
Yeah, well, you know what? And I when you lead from the beginning, you want to finish, and I'm a closer, so we'll see what happens. But Mark's been on fire. Sylvie's coming around, so you know what? It's been great. Been a lot of fun. Here we go. Number 1, Texans -6 at the Jets. The Jets are a mess. There's no question. The Texans playing pretty damn good football. Got to be impressed with them. Big-time Watson fan. But I think the Jets managed to cover this game by the 6 points. I still think going east is a tough thing, especially for a team out of Texas. I'm not saying that the Texans are going to lose, but I like the Jets plus the 6 as a barroom pick. My top play, and they've been good to me, bad to me, good to me, but I think they're going to be real good to me this week. Giants -2.5 versus the Titans. The Titans are teasers. That's what they are. They're the girl that comes by at 10 o'clock going, if you're still here at 12 o'clock, we'll talk. And the guy's so desperate, he sticks around till 12 o'clock. And then he goes, hey, it's 12 o'clock. She goes, oh, I got to get going. And then she leaves. Okay?
I've met her.
Of course, that never happened to me much. Anyway, the Titans, I'm tired of them. That's it. I'm tired of Mariota. I'm tired of Vrabel. I liked them at the beginning. I think they're a lot of more bark than bite. Eli Manning's been on fire. It's amazing. You give Eli Manning a running game, right? Mm-hmm. His stats are very, very good, folks. And I don't know if you have noticed that the New York Giants right now are playing damn good football. Real good football. To the point, I mean, they're 5-8, but they're 7-5 against the spread. I like the Giants in this game as my top play against the Titans. Here's a game that is going to be, I think, a last-minute win by one of these two teams.
Okay.
I don't shy away if I have a bad week the week before. Mm-hmm. Because there's an old saying a friend of mine used to tell me, scared picks or scared money has no home. If you're scared, leave the house. Okay? Get out. I don't play scared. So I said, I'm going to take a tough game here. And the system that I play, I believe it tells me to do it. Patriots -2 at the Steelers. People are starting to hammer the Steelers coffin shut. I think most people, I think even Aldo would say, you know, after what the Patriots crapped the bed last week. And last week, the reason I was 4-12 was because of games like what happened in New England, where you let a high school or playground play, lose you the game. Everybody's expecting New England to come back and just destroy Pittsburgh, even at Pittsburgh. I don't see that. Tomlin's been taking hits. Big Ben is still a 2-time winning quarterback. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers win this football game.
That's a gutsy pick. Very gutsy.
Sir. You like that pick?
Yeah, I do. And I love the guts that you have in making that pick because that is going to be a fascinating game. We'll see if the Patriots can bounce back on the road at Pittsburgh. Very gutsy pick. I like it. Yep. I'm not saying I'm going to bet on it.
God help me. Oh. I just want to put in the Nuke Rockney story and just fast forward to the end when the plane is down. Okay, here we go. So I have the Steelers, the Giants, and the Jets. Last but not least, look, if they got any pride at all, I know the Rams. They're happy not to be playing the Bears. How's that, everybody? How's that for everybody? Put that in your pipe and smoke it, NFL and NFL Network and everybody that thought the Bears were going to be intimidated by the Rams. Huh? They don't want to see them. It's going to be like 85 again. They don't want to see the Bears again, ever. Sean McVay and everybody else. That being said, the Eagles, this is like their Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They crapped the bed this year. It looks like they're the flash-in-the-pan Super Bowl team of the next decade, that they'll never go back under this regime. You got Carson Wentz down, Nick Foles, whatever. I'm taking the Eagles, plus the 10.5. So I got the Eagles, the Steelers, the Giants, and the Jets, my friend.
Those are the top 4 picks for Bears Barroom, and you can find them at the Chicago Sun-Times. Now let's go through the rest of the NFL with Mike's picks.
Hit that music, Aldo. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to our band leader, Aldo Gandia. Go ahead.
It's sort of like Xavier Cugat, right?
I loved him.
Yeah, he was cool.
That guy got all the women.
Yeah,
He was married to Charo.
Oh, my goodness. You know the Coochie girl, Charo?
Did you know that?
I did know that. I had just forgotten about it.
Don't pretend like you knew it.
No,
I give you a nice nugget and you try to ride with it.
No, here's the truth. My mom was the Charo of our neighborhood. She'd go around doing coochie, and I'm like, Mom, you're embarrassing me. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Charo was a household name in our house.
Charo's a legend. She's still around.
Oh, my gosh. And all that plastic has made her still look good. It's unbelievable.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Xavier Cugat's not around.
No.
He's gone.
Long gone.
But he was a big band leader back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. Just check him out on Wikipedia. Don't have time right now. Got to make my picks. Here we go. I mean, even Xavier Cugat gets some play on the show. Where are we going?
Unbelievable.
All right, here we go. Yeah, one of Aldo's idols.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably got his poster.
I got
Of course, I'll say this about him. Yeah, I'll say this. He was married to Charo. That's pretty good, don't you think?
He did all right. He did all right in the marriage department. Absolutely.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Broncos -3 versus the Browns. You know what? Baker Mayfield's a magnet. Mm-hmm. You want to bet him. You want to take him. It's tough, but I'm going to take Denver at home. I think the Browns have had a heck of a comeback season. I think there's hope. I think the Suns you're going to see some sunlight finally in Cleveland, but not this week, okay? Mm-hmm. Next game, Ravens -7.5 versus the Buccaneers. Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson, these guys, they seem to be in flux. But what is Tampa Bay? Who is Tampa Bay? Do they even know what they're going to do next year? They look better with Fitzpatrick sometimes than they do with Jameis Winston. But I'm going to take the 7.5 points. This is a tough pick for me because the Ravens, I don't think, are good enough to give 7.5 points, which usually means they're going to win by 20. But the system says take the Buccaneers, and you know me, Aldo, it's not Mike North making these picks. It is the system. I'm taking the Bucs.
The Mike North system.
Well, yeah, it's been successful.
Yes.
So I got to stick with what I got. Bengals -2.5 versus the Raiders. The Raiders, 3 wins, and they've been playing better football.
Yeah.
The Bengals have no pride. They have a bunch of losers as their front office and their coach. But you know what? I just don't see the Raiders playing again good. So I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals, who, if my record has any weaknesses, it's because of teams like the Bengals, who I believed in. And now I'm hearing now Marvin Lewis may be back. I can't believe it.
Of course he's coming back.
Jeez.
The only thing that's going to pry him away from that job is his death.
All I keep saying is I can't believe he's going to be back, yet I keep taking the team.
I know. Now, are you taking
I can't believe this guy is a murderer. But I'm going to go with him.
That's right.
It's unbelievable.
I'm going to invite him into my home.
I just don't get it.
That's right.
And
now,
then I get off the Lions. Now I'm off the Lions. Minus 2.5 versus the Lions. I take the Bills in this one.
Okay.
I like Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. I like the direction they're going. Detroit, you know what? If it was a different league, if it's 10 years ago, 15, when gunslingers weren't in vogue. Mm-hmm. See, remember when Brett Favre was known as a gunslinger?
Oh, yeah. Title of his book.
Everybody's a gunslinger now.
That's right.
I mean, seriously. Everybody's a gunslinger.
Tariq Cohen.
I mean, I look at Stafford. I look at the Lions. I think they've quit. I think the Bills are still building. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills in this one.
That's going to be an interesting game up in Buffalo.
Yep. Yeah, up in Buffalo. Detroit Lions going up there. Bills minus 2.5. Colts minus 3 versus the Cowboys. Dallas has to be smelling it.
Yeah.
The Colts, though, Andrew Luck, they've had some great wins this year. They've had a couple real bad losses. They're a tough team to handicap. Excuse me. But I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one, plus the 3. Mm. This is one that wait, did I just hear?
As soon as it left my mouth, I said to myself, why did I do that? Destroy his rhythm.
I mean, I heard. I know, listen. When you were a kid, when I was a kid and I'd whisper to the girl next to me, give me the answer. And the nun would turn. That was like what you just did. But I heard that, and I'm terrified that I got the Cowboys now. But here's one I'm going to go home to.
Okay.
Mark Potash and Mark Silverman both took the Vikings. I took the Vikings, but those two guys took them as a main pick.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
I just took them as a regular pick. The Dolphins are plus 7. Mm-hmm. I've heard on the NFL Network a couple of their guys take the Vikings. If I could change this, I would, but I'm not because I stick to my guns. So I got the Vikings, not as a major pick, thank the Lord. Because if you're Potash and if you're Silver, you're looking at that today. And when, like I said before, folks, when the three of us pick the same team, like last night, the Chiefs, mm-hmm. It's not usually a good thing. So I got the Vikings, but man, I wouldn't even touch that game now. Mm-hmm. And if I did, I'd probably go the other way.
Yeah.
All right, here's a mystery team to us. The Falcons minus 9 versus the Cardinals. 2 mystery teams. One really, really bad, and one should be really, really better than they are. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to take the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals still play. I think their coach sucks, though. Wilkes, yeah. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
I just think he's a bad football coach. I think the organization's where the Bears were 2 years ago, Aldo. Mm-hmm. But I just think 9 points is a lot of points against a team, Atlanta, that's defensively challenged, just like Kansas City was last night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just stay along with me, Mr. Gabby Hayes had more lines and more dialogue than you. My God.
I need a script. Gabby Hayes. Oh, jeez.
I give you a paragraph. I go, what do you think about that? I love you. Are you ready?
Sound like Lurch in the old Addams Family show, right?
Oh, I love Lurch. You rang. Here we go.
That's right.
You never know what you're going to hear.
Never.
Actually think you were going to hear somebody say, I love Lurch this morning. Here we go. Okay. The man's a legend in my home. All right. Ted Cassidy. The great Ted Cassidy.
Oh, that's right.
Jaguars. Oh, he carried that show.
He did.
Who was your favorite person on that show?
Well, the guy, the hand that came out of that box and just walked around. I mean, the acting by that hand was unbelievable.
Yeah, I loved Ted Cassidy.
He was great. There's no doubt about that.
I loved him as Lurch.
Was he?
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm tearing up.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Was Ted Cassidy in anything else? I don't remember Ted Cassidy.
Let me ask you a question. Did he have to be?
No, that was it. His performance in the original Addams Family TV show is
the role of a lifetime.
It was.
The role of a lifetime. Yeah. Look, I don't care what Fred Gwynn did in My Cousin Vinny. I don't care what Fred Gwynn did in Car 54. Where are you? Herman Munster was the role of a lifetime.
Yes. That's classic TV. All you young people listening in, go to YouTube, type in the Munsters, Munsters, and just enjoy.
And the Addams Family, who battled each other on network TV on the same night.
Yeah. Yes.
Forget about the Chiefs and the Chargers. Every week there was a bit of rivalry.
Ben Alexander in the chat room says that he thinks Cassidy played a cowboy in some kind of movie. I'll do a little search on that and put it up at Bears
while I give you one of my useless picks, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Jaguars -7 versus the Redskins. Does Washington have any pride?
No.
I mean, seriously, dear God, Lord on high, if you're getting the Jaguars are favored against you, that would be my message as a head coach. Most of my messages would be, if I had a team, are you really a touchdown worse than the Jacksonville Jaguars? Don't even go there.
Yeah.
I'm taking Washington +7. I'm taking Washington. I know I should have a gun in my mouth taking that pick. Seahawks -4 at the 49ers. Everybody's talking up the Seahawks. I'm taking the 49ers. I think the Seahawks win by a field goal. And then the Saints -6 at the Panthers. I'm going to tell everybody something.
Mm-hmm.
I watched one of my losses last week. See, one thing that I haven't explained about gambling, and here, is when you win or lose, you watch every team you bet. Like, I'll watch, besides the Bears this week, the Jets, the Giants, the Steelers, and the Eagles. Very closely because I have the NFL season pass. And you see stuff that the casual NFL fan doesn't see.
Yes.
Maybe the fantasy player sees it because there's guys on his team not getting the job done. But Cam Newton has been playing like crap.
Yeah.
I mean, he had wide open passes last week that he was missing. And this guy's considered a Super Bowl quarterback. And I don't know what his issue is, but, Rivera took over the play calling duties. There were some weaknesses there. But that being said, the Saints want to get through everything healthy. They're -6 at Carolina. I think that's going to be a battle on Monday night. I'm taking the Panthers +6. So I'm going to give everybody my picks. First, my barroom picks. The Jets, the Giants, the Steelers, and the Eagles. Oh, I almost forgot.
I was going to remind you. I wasn't going to let you leave the house.
No, you wouldn't let me do it. It's Bears Barroom, for God's sake.
Everybody's waiting.
We got to give our picks. Chicago's best show, for God's sake, which isn't hard. It's like me being the valedictorian of my summer school class. This show being the best sports show out there with the sports shows that are out there. You know what I'm saying, Aldo.
Oh, yes, I do.
I'm not being cocky or anything. Facts are facts.
That's right.
What am I supposed to do? Plus, you get some winners. Anyway.
That's right. Everybody's waiting. Everybody's waiting for this pick, Mike. Everybody.
This is why I'm beloved by the media in Chicago.
Because you tell it like it is.
Yeah. Because it's just outlandish statements that land me in everybody's doghouse, which I don't give a crap about. Here we go.
Okay.
I live in a house with 12 alone in the refrigerator. That's all I know. Here we go. Aldo's going, he's got to be on drugs, which is, guy, just give us the Bears pick. Okay. Bears -6 about Green Bay. I'm going to go to the window and take the Bears.
Yes.
Are they crazy? 6 ain't enough. Soldier Field, listen, I've never heard it louder.
Yeah.
In '85, it was crazy.
Yes.
I know that. But last week,
it was amazing.
It was unbelievable. Look, the acoustics in that building. I know the Stones are coming there again. I've seen concerts there. It's fine. In the old days when the speakers weren't as good and when the production was, technology wasn't as good, it was an okay place for a concert. It doesn't keep the sound in. Since the new construction, better.
Yes.
It has, but so it was loud. And I think the fans love this team, that they get it. And the fans were waiting for this. There's no way Green Bay's walking out here. They lose by at least 10. At least 10.
I am in love with you, Mike North, picking the Bears.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, if I had 4 wins last week, I'm glad one of them was the Bears.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because
Absolutely.
that was a tough pick.
Yeah.
That was a tough pick.
Very, very, very tough. Very gutsy,
They've
too.
been covering most of the year.
Yeah, they have been. That is unbelievable. I love this pick. I agree with you. I think the Bears are going to win convincingly against this Green Bay Packers team. And I think that this whole Aaron Rodgers dominance over the Chicago Bears is over. We're turning a new leaf. Now, you remember the last several games the Bears played against Brett Favre. The Bears dominated Brett Favre. It was over. And I think that's what's going to happen now with the Aaron Rodgers era. It is over. He's no longer.
Yeah, they have no head coach. That idiot took 2 challenges and lost them both in the first quarter last week.
Did you see that? That filming guy?
Yeah, that's the idiot. Wasn't that the guy with the bullying with Jonathan Martin?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I believe you're
right.
right.
You had a 270-pound guy crying because another man was busting his tail a little bit, you know? So, that's long gone. But, this guy here, everything is on the upswing with Chicago. You can't say the same thing for Green Bay. You just can't. You could say you got Aaron Rodgers, and you know what? That's fine. You need more than that. And this is the truth. And I know I like to bring this guy's name up once a show, but the Bears are so refreshing to have a quarterback that gives a crap compared to the dirty diaper we had for 8 years known as Jay Cutler. Really. Just a dirty, filthy, crappy filth diaper. That's what the guy was. I called it for 8 years, and everybody jumped on his bandwagon, let him bend everybody over the couch and have his way. It was just unbelievable. The love that was given to that dirty, filthy diaper, Jay Cutler.
Tell me how
it was an 8-year waste of time, and I know it.
Tell me how you really feel about this guy. All right.
The guy sucked. And you know what? People can't handle it because they believed in him, including you. You guys walked the line with him.
I did. I liked him. I didn't like him as a person, but I thought that he had the talent to, uplift the Bears, and he was never surrounded with quality players. Only maybe a season or two, but by that time,
Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, you had Martellus Bennett, you had Matt Forty. That was a quality player.
That 1 or 2 seasons, but the coach was Mark Trestman, so that was the problem.
Denver got rid of Jay Cutler, and when he was 26 years old, they got rid of him. They just said, "Walk on, man. Go ahead, go have a good time wherever you're going to go." And you know what? It just was here. I don't know where the Bears are. I will say this about what the Bears have done this year compared to others. Minnesota's offense with Kirk Cousins is as good as the Bears. Do you know that? In fact, it's better in a lot of ways. But you know what Minnesota's had all year? Their defense hasn't been close to the Bears' defense.
That's for sure.
And that's why they got rid of their offensive coordinator. And they're going to find out quick that it's the defense that has let them down more than the offense. Because how many 80-yard drives has Trubisky had to have? With leading the league in turnovers. With, for instance, Fuller. I never thought Fuller would have 7 interceptions. Leading the league in turnovers has meant 30-yard drives, 50-yard drives, just like the 85 Bears, 60-yard drives. They haven't had the ball and had to go 90 yards to win games or to score points, and they've also had points put on the board by their defense, which Minnesota's defense has failed to do. So when you look at Minnesota, you can look at the offense, but their offense with Kirk Cousins has been as good as the Bears. It's the defense. This is what I do. Period.
I love it. Hey, before
but you're buying what I'm selling?
I am. I totally am. But let me ask you this, because this is
how many long drives do you think McMahon had in '85? Not many.
Not many. That is for sure.
They killed the quarterback at his own 30. He fumble the ball, his helmet would go rolling along to the sidelines. They'd pick the ball up and run to the 10.
Very true.
He'd have a 10-yard drive on 5 plays.
Very true. Now, Ben Alexander in the chat room says he totally agrees with you, but Brian Quinn says, imagine if Jay Cutler was set up with the current situation with the defense and his offensive weapons. And that's a good question. That's a good question.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you telling me between Trubisky and Cutler, I'd take Trubisky. He's already gone places Cutler failed to go to.
He's a better leader.
Already.
There's no doubt. Yeah.
And Cutler was here. You know what Cutler's biggest... He had 2 things bothered him. He wasn't interested and his heart. But I'm going to tell you this. I always thought, I don't know if Bear fans feel this way at the bar room. I told everybody. I always thought he could have run more. Mm-hmm. He'd run to the line and then throw a pass. He'd get batted around. Or there were times with Trubisky, that's his strength.
Mm-hmm.
And he runs. He's young. Will he last long? I don't know. But he's got that McMahon type of gene where I'm going to do anything to get to the goal line. I didn't see that with this guy Cutler. So I'm going to tell you straight up. I think Trubisky is the right quarterback for this team.
Well, it's almost like you read my rundown here, because the last thing I wanted to talk about was Jim McMahon. He was at the New Lenox Hospital for the opening of the New Lenox Hospital, and he talked openly about his prescription drug addiction and made a really strong statement for medicinal marijuana as a painkiller and not for people to avoid these addictive painkillers. So I wanted to have a little chat with you about what your opinion is on that. I know that you've had many nights talking with Jim and sharing a couple of beers and so forth. What are your thoughts about Jim McMahon's and his statement?
Well, first of all, it doesn't surprise me Jim is endorsing marijuana, because I think he's been on some stuff with marijuana boards and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I really believe that marijuana is not a harmful drug. If you're going to ask me, over the last 40 years, a lot of the things that's going to be in the movie is that I'm making has to do with alcohol. Mm-hmm. And I think if a lot of guys from our era and Jim's era had to do over again, it would have been more marijuana, especially since it's being legalized all over the country, and apparently it's hard. Apparently it's harmless. People, and less drinking. Mm-hmm. Because there's no doubt which one's worse. Mm-hmm. I drank for 40 years, but I stopped in my mid 50s, because if I stopped at 54, if I would have kept drinking into my 60s, I'd be probably gone by now. Mm-hmm. The way you just can't do it. But I will also say this: I think there's an argument for medical marijuana, but if there's medical marijuana cards you can get, you still have to go through stringent bylines.
Right.
I talked to my doctor about it. Mm-hmm. About if you have a bad back, or if you do this, if you do that, I can't. You have to go through in Illinois a whole bunch of things if you wanted to get marijuana to be cleared. So it's sort of like a stringent process, where in other places like Denver or in Las Vegas or even in Worcester, Massachusetts, they opened up a marijuana dispensary on a side street, and now the neighbors are complaining because there's lines a mile long.
Oh, my goodness.
So they're making, and by the way, let me just say this, folks. This is what I do. You go, Mike, how do you know all this stuff? Because I'm retired and I read a lot. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Marlboro is involved in the marijuana industry now.
Right.
So they just they had a stock. I forget the name of the company. They went from $8 to $15 as soon as they're pumping $1.2 billion into it.
Yeah.
So the future is going to be marijuana anyway. But Jim McMahon, I think, is on the right track. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if it's going to help ease some aches and pains.
Maybe we should change the name of the website from Bears Barroom to Bears Weed House or something like that.
Oh, that's really nice.
Just
you
kidding.
take a successful thing like we've been trying so hard, and you just all of a sudden we're just a bunch of stoners. I understand. You know what? City boys, listen, city boys, when you meet a city boy, and you're a city boy and I'm a city boy,
oh, yeah.
and your city boy goes, yeah, do you ever smoke marijuana? No. You start to look at him.
Exactly.
I'm serious.
Exactly.
I mean, you're talking to. I grew up in the 60s. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my gosh.
70s. I used to work the beaches. No, wait a minute. I sound like a gigolo, but I'm not.
Really.
I picked paper on the beach.
Okay.
And you'd see people, I worked for the park district. You'd see people talking right on the beach. Those were the days, my friend. I thought they never end. And they did.
I love this quote from Jim in the article that was in the. I think.
What did he say? I love Mac.
Yeah,
and you know what? We'll tag him. We'll tag him on this show so he'll listen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was in the Daily Southtown. He says that marijuana is not a drug. It's a medicinal herb, God's gift to us. Isn't that a great quote?
That's what my wife says about oregano. Of course, she's a big time cook. You know that.
Oh, my gosh,
yeah,
the best.
I mean, look, it grows out of the ground.
Yes, exactly. It can't be that.
You know what I'm saying? It grows out of the ground. Look, we're not endorsing it. We're not saying
No.
it. It's up to the individuals.
Exactly.
It's up to the individuals.
Right.
But I guarantee you this. 80% of the people that are in Bears Barroom are probably stoned listening to us right now.
The contact high from just the talk, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all. They just start lighting up when they hear my picks.
Mike, you are the perfect way to start a weekend, as one of our people said in the chat room. It is time for us to say goodbye.
And goodbye to all. I better win, because I got rug burns from laying on the floor last week. I felt like, I swear to God, I was doing the rope-a-dope by Monday night. I love you.
You are so competitive. I can see that happening. I love you too,
Hey,
Mike.
thanks to Verdoliak. Hey, by the way,
yeah.
we did not mention the great job of Verdoliak Law Group, the great job that they do, the fantastic job. Go to the website, check out Verdoliak Law Group, Pete Verdoliak, Nashville offices, and also in Chicago. Great people. Any kind of compensation insurance for you, and tick splits. We'll talk to you. See you, buddy.
Take care now.